Stop what you're doing. Seriously, if you have any money invested in the semiconductor space, or if you're just tracking the massive AI boom, you need to hear this. Look, I know it feels like all the easy money in AI has already been made by the massive megacap guys, and finding the next breakout player feels almost impossible. But what if I told you one of the most traditional legacy chip makers out there just completely flipped its entire business model practically overnight? We are talking about a massive $1.8 billion perfectly executed cash deal that is literally redefining their entire future. Think of it like taking a reliable but kind of aging station wagon and just dropping a bleeding-edge hypercar engine right under the hood. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how Powerchip Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, or PSMC, is pulling off this massive pivot. Last week, I dug into the exact structure of this turnaround, and honestly, what I found kind of shocked me. We're looking at a textbook transformation from a mature legacy player to a high-tech AI contender. Okay, let's dive into exactly how they're doing this.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with the massive Micron fab sale, then look at their sudden return to profitability. After that, we're diving into the new 3D AI foundry, their breakthrough nanometer stacking technology, and finally, we'll wrap up with how their governance and dividends are building a totally stable foundation for all of this.
All right, part one, the Micron fab sale. This is the absolute fuel for their transformation.
$1.8 billion US. That is the exact cash amount PSMC secured by signing an exclusive letter of intent to sell its newly built Tongluo P5 fabrication site to Micron Technology. But here's the thing, the real story here isn't just the giant pile of cash, it is the strategic alliance that this money creates. Chairman Dr. Frank Huang made it super clear, this is not just a standard real estate flip. This deal actually integrates PSMC directly into Micron's advanced DRAM packaging supply chain, assuming they pass certification, of course. It is an absolute win-win for both sides.
So the really crucial piece to understand here is this total shift in their operational DNA. The old PSMC, it was heavily reliant on mature processes. We're talking legacy equipment and low-margin foundry services. But the new PSMC is systematically phasing all of that out, so they can target the highly lucrative AI supply chain directly. And you've got to appreciate this completely fascinating logistical flex from President Martin Chu. They are currently relocating personnel, equipment, and entire product lines from that Tongluo fab back to their Hsinchu site with literally zero production downtime. Just a massive, incredibly precise operation.
Moving right along to part two, their return to profitability and the massive financial surge they're seeing.
I mean, this number is just absolutely staggering. 14.2 billion new Taiwan dollars in net profit for the first quarter of 2026. To really put that into perspective, just one quarter prior, they posted a loss of 654 million NTD. This massive complete reversal is largely driven by that one-time disposal gain from the Micron deal, and it officially marks their first profitable quarter in the last 9 quarters. They are officially back in the black, and their cash flow is looking incredibly strong.
But wait, it isn't just the fab sale that's keeping them afloat. If you look at the underlying business operations, things are really heating up. Because of a persistent market supply crunch, PSAMC has been aggressively hiking prices. Since January, they've bumped up prices for 12-inch display driver chips by a massive 30%, image sensors by 20%, and 8-inch display driver chips by 15%. This double-digit business growth actually pushed their gross margins from 6% in the previous quarter all the way up to 10%. On top of that, their factory utilization rate is forecast to hit a full 100%. The core business is totally humming right now.
Okay, part 3, the 3D AI foundry. This is exactly how they are repositioning for the future.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of exactly what high-value products PSMC is pivoting to. They're completely reorganizing their 3 12-inch and 2 8-inch fabs to focus on 4 critical pillars. We're looking at 3D AI DRAM, silicon interposers, and IPDs, which, by the way, cleverly bundle capacitors and resistors into a single substrate for 5G and high-performance computing, along with power management ICs and power components. They're explicitly cutting the cord and phasing out non-AI-related business to make this brand-new 3D AI foundry their third major revenue pillar within the next 2 to 3 years.
Now you're going to hear the term wafer-on-wafer or WOW thrown around a lot in this space, so let's take a quick second to actually define what that means. Normally you place chips side by side on a board, right? But that eats up physical space and it drastically slows down data transfer. Wafer-on-wafer fixes this by literally stacking the chips vertically. It's an advanced 3D packaging technology that vastly optimizes power performance, which is absolutely 100% critical for the heavy, intensive computing loads that modern artificial intelligence requires.
Which brings us to Part 4, Breakthrough Nanometer Stacking, and their major alliance with Soitec.
To really push the boundaries of this 3D integration, PSMC formed a highly strategic collaboration with a French company called Soitec, who are absolute leaders in innovative semiconductor materials. These two have been working together quietly for 2 years, and they recently announced a massive milestone. Soitec is going to supply 300mm substrates to PSMC to support a brand new demonstration of advanced 3D chip stacking, right at the wafer level.
And the real secret sauce of this partnership is something called transistor layer transfer, or TLT. Guys, this tech is fascinating. It uses Soitec's proprietary smart cut technology and infrared lasers to lift an ultra-thin semiconductor layer, and we are talking unbelievably thin here, anywhere from 5 nanometers to 1 micrometer, and then it transfers it to a target wafer. The most brilliant part? It pulls this off without introducing any thermal stress or damaging the super delicate devices. This exact process is what enables next-generation 3D transistor architectures like vertical field effect transistors with backside power delivery networks.
As Zi Chang, the chief technology officer over at PSMC, basically summed up the sheer magnitude of this perfectly. He called out the remarkable reduction in stacking thickness from the micrometer level all the way down to the nanometer level. By moving away from just simple chip-level stacking and getting into actual transistor-level stacking, they are quite literally extending Moore's law. This is not just a fun little incremental update, it is a huge, necessary leap in energy-efficient computing architecture that the AI industry desperately needs right now.
Finally, Part 5, Governance and Dividends. Let's look at the stable foundation underneath all this tech.
You have to remember that PSMC is a company ranked 7th globally in pure-play foundries, and they're also 7th in semiconductor ESG evaluations. They take their corporate governance incredibly seriously. They report 100% zero corruption and zero anti-competitive practices. Plus, they recently restructured their Sustainable Development Committee to include 22 specialized members, and they're even tying sustainable performance indicators directly into how their executives get paid. And for the investors out there, this is huge. Their board recently resolved to distribute a cash dividend of 4 new Taiwan dollars per share for the 2025 fiscal year. That totals around 130 million NTD. So they are actively rewarding their shareholders while meticulously funding this aggressive future roadmap.
So that brings us to the ultimate question. With a heavily fortified balance sheet from that $1.8 billion Micron deal, absolutely booming legacy chip margins, and a bleeding-edge partnership with Soitec to pioneer nanometer-scaled transistor stacking, will PSMC's aggressive pivot make them the ultimate dark horse of the global AI supply chain? Honestly, it's a textbook transformation from a legacy player into a high-tech AI contender, and it's a story we are definitely going to be watching super closely. Thanks for exploring this amazing turnaround with me today.